You know, people across the nation might have been calling it an upset, but the folks in Fort Worth who've been watching the women's team knew that wasn't an upset. Beating number 9 NC State on Sunday. Big win for the program. Mark Campbell. Welcome in, everybody, to the All Horned Frogs podcast, part of the All-City Network Cavalcade of Podcasts. We're in downtown Dallas at the DLLS studios for episode number 11. Some fun stuff to talk about this week. Coming up today. Football, 6th-year senior Brent Mariscik at 3, and the closer, Jamie Plunkett of 247 Sports. He finishes things off at 3:15. But to borrow from Bobby Knight, we're not here to mess around this week. We're going to go live right now to Fort Worth, almost right now, and TCU women's coach Mark Campbell. He will be here shortly. Mark, for those of you who don't know, this is his second year with the program. He came from Sacramento State, which he had helped rebuild. Before that, he was at Oregon, which he helped rebuild. Before that, Oregon State, which he helped rebuild as an assistant. And then a little bit about his playing career. He played at Hawaii, which is, I don't know how you leave the islands, but pretty sweet. He was a point guard, so I'm wondering what his thoughts are and how Haley Van Lith is handling things at the point and distributing the ball. But exciting times. You know, the Frogs are now ranked number 19 in the country. They beat NC State, like I said, on Sunday. NC State was ranked number 13. They were in the Final Four last year. Pretty good ball club. So this was a big test. It was one of the bigger games the Frogs have played for a while, and they've got more on the way. You know, they have Notre Dame coming up here next weekend. Then they play defending national champion South Carolina December 8th at Dickies Arena. Inside the league itself, it's tough with Baylor's always good, Iowa State. So a tough schedule, kind of an iron sharpens iron things. But so far, the iron's been pretty sharp in Fort Worth. And while we're waiting on Coach Campbell, you know, it's a pretty interesting note. I don't know if I'll get around to asking him about this, but he has some players on his team who have huge social media followings. You know, Haley Van Lith has 1.2 million Instagram followers. All right. She has a lot of endorsement deals. Thank God for the NIL, I suppose. But you know, she has her own agent who works with the university and helps her balance out her schedule. And then Sedona Prince, who we'll be talking a lot about, 146,000 followers. And she gained fame a few years ago by pointing out in a video the conditions, the weight room at the women's first round tournament games and how bad they were, and then how bad the lunch was. And it was like a box 7-Eleven lunch. And anybody who's had one of those knows that they're pretty terrible. And then Maddie Schur, who transferred in from Kentucky after spending time with Coach Campbell in Oregon. She has 61,000 Instagram followers. I think I'm up to 700 finally. So I'm pretty fired up about that. Haley, of course, was the Olympian. She played on the U.S. Three-man basketball team, which won the bronze medal. Got some notoriety then. And then she comes to TCU at a time when women's basketball is really picking up steam nationally with Caitlin Clark and Angela Reese and their little rivalry, and you know, the controversy about Caitlin Clark not being on Team USA for the Paris games. Still won gold nonetheless, but I think it was a really tight game. But anyway, they are bringing publicity and attention to the women's game, and it feels like that's kind of the case at TCU too. So once Coach Campbell is here, we can ask him all those questions. It's going to be pretty exciting to talk to him. If you haven't seen him talk, he's great. He's high energy, knows his stuff. It's fun to see. So he's really interesting to talk to, and they went through so much stuff last year. He comes in and oh, okay. Let me double check on the link. Yeah. Anyway, Coach Campbell came in last year, brought in a bunch of really good recruits like Sedona Prince and Madison Connor, and they were playing really well. They ended up in the top 25 right around the end of December before conference play, and then they got hit by all kinds of stuff, injuries. I think they had a COVID rash. Anyway, they ended up forfeiting a game. They didn't have enough players. Furthermore, they held an open tryout on campus, bringing in girls who are enrolled in school who'd played some basketball. Ended up signing 3 of them. They got through the season. Ended up playing pretty well. I believe they actually had some postseason action. So anyway, good times for them now with, again, another loaded recruiting class. And Brady Johnson, the SID, is working things up there in Fort Worth, and hopefully the coach is joining us here very soon. If not, we can always bump him. Although, gosh, we got 20 seconds. We want to flirt with this. We've been trying to get Mark Campbell for a couple of weeks. 20 seconds is what everybody says. 20 seconds. It's the 20-second warning. All right, we got 15 to go. Come on, baby. Yeah. Yeah, no, we thank Brady very, very much for his help in doing this. It's been been a busy time around Fort Worth, especially since the win. So, but they're off today. They play tomorrow at noon in their annual field trip game. There will be a lot of screeching boys and girls there. It's always kind of fun. Frisco, the Rough Riders, do it a lot. Round Rock does it a lot. It helps boost the attendance for one, but these kids get in and have a good time. This is exciting. Here we go. Bam. Coach Campbell.
Hey.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Thanks for joining the show. I know we've been trying for a couple weeks and haven't had the chance, but now we've got even more to talk about. So I was talking to Brady, your SID, about the last. Well, I sent the request. Hey, can Coach do it this week? He said it's been a crazy 24 hours. So what has things been like since you guys beat NC State?
Yeah. There's been a lot of stuff going on. I think it's the highest school ranking since 2008. So it's been 16 years. And the first practice after our ranking, one of the fun things we did is I went around and asked staff and players, hey, tell me, what were you doing in 2008? It was hilarious. Like one of our assistant coaches, he said he was in 7th grade. One of the players, like I was 2 years old.
Right.
So it was pretty funny. So that's been neat for our program, and obviously the school and the donors and alumni, the response has been incredible. And then the game in college athletics is recruiting. And so to be able to just parlay that on ESPN against a team that just played in the Final Four a year ago, to showcase our program, had a great environment and crowd. And so we've been busy on the recruiting trail as well.
Well, good. I'm imagining you're getting good stuff. You guys return to action tomorrow against Incarnate Word, a noon tip-off, people. Noon tip-off, the annual field trip day. 4 games in 9 days, though, including a trip to Grand Cayman. That's pretty sweet. Although you have to play Notre Dame, so another tough one. So what does this win do for you guys? I mean, you guys didn't think it was an upset. You guys knew you felt confident you're going to win. So is it a confidence booster, or is it just reinforce some of the stuff you've been doing?
Yeah, great question. It's half of our team's new out of the portal, and so we have one of those rosters. I think everybody around the country is trying to figure out, can we put it together? Do the pieces fit? And so this was our first test as a group to be challenged and go compete against a top 25 team. And it's solidified that TCU has a real team this year and has some serious pieces, and they do fit together. And so that was a big statement, and just for your own group, as there's many steps that unfold over the course of a season that galvanizes a group and brings you together. Some of those are great wins. Some of those are tough losses. And so this is one of those that's an important step on this journey. And college athletics now is each year you start over from scratch of finding your leaders and building your team and going on that journey. And the key is, as a program, as a staff, who can get that team to play the game right and to be tight over the course of the season. And so this did a lot towards that. And then, like you said, if you're bored during Thanksgiving and you got no plans, come out to the Cayman Islands and spend a couple days with us. And we Notre Dame, I don't even know what they're ranked. I know they're top 5 in the country. But it's going to be an unbelievable women's game. It's kind of the marquee game of the event. And then we'll also play a really, really good South Florida team.
Yeah, the Bulls. Hey, so Sedona Prince, huge game the other day, 31-16, Big 12 Player of the Week. I mean, she's had a huge start to her season. She was great last season when she was healthy. Rank her among the top post players in the women's game.
No question. You could make a legitimate argument that she's the best post player in college basketball. And it's the way I say that, she's so unique. She's 6'7", but has a feathery touch, can play out on the perimeter, can really pass it, kind of has a guard feel to her, and she can also post up. In the WNBA, for the New York Liberty, I would say the closest comparison is a special player named Jonquel Jones. In the NBA, it would be Nikola Jokic. Sedona's just so versatile as a 6'7" playmaking forward. She's a matchup problem. But Sedona, the sky's the limit. It always has been. The sky's the limit for Sedona. It's just her being able to put all of her gifts, put it all together.
Yeah. How has Haley helped her? It seems like, maybe the pick and roll, able to drive and maybe create an open look on penetration. How has Haley impacted not just Sedona, but I guess the whole squad?
Yeah, the pick and roll. It sure helps if you got a world-class playmaker and a great center. It makes the pick and roll work really well.
Makes you look good, huh?
Yeah, it does. You could coach the group. Haley is one of the most mature, hardworking college athletes that I've ever been around. Just getting to see her train and prepare for the Olympics this summer. Watch her do her 3-a-days. Our players got to get a glimpse of what makes Haley so special and what makes Haley tick. And her preparation second to none. And so she's elevated our team in regards to the standards she sets every day, how she approaches her craft. And then obviously she's put TCU women's basketball on the national stage. When she decided to come here for her last year of eligibility, it kind of put a stamp of approval that TCU is elite and elite players are coming here. And so, part of this rise, she's awesome, but she believed the NC State game heading into that thing that we weren't no underdog.
Yeah.
According to Haley Van Lith, they're in trouble, and they know they're in trouble. And so Haley has a great swagger to her. But I'll tell you what, when you watch her work on her craft, you know why she has swagger. She's earned it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she can score, but she had 10 assists. She had 12 rebounds in the previous game. I mean, it's like, this is an all around. It seems like maybe, I don't know. I don't know what happened at LSU last year, where she I mean, they had a great team, obviously, but it seems like she's kind of getting allowed to be the player she's meant to be.
Yeah, no question. I mean, she's knocking on the door of a triple double every game. I think I don't know the stats in front of me. She's got to be close to 18 points, 8 assists, 7, 8 boards. What she's doing is unbelievable. And I don't talk about the LSU time because I wasn't there. I don't know
Yeah.
what was going on. For whatever reason, it just wasn't a good fit. And so she has flourished here, and she is one of the most skilled, dynamic playmaking guards in the country. And Haley needs space. She can play in a pick and roll. And I've said this, but we're trying to unleash her. She has an element to the game that nobody's seen with her vision and passing ability. She scored over 2,000 points in her career. She broke that last game, that's a lot of buckets, buddy. So
It is.
she's been putting the ball in the hole for a long time, but now she's growing and evolving as a player, and it's just fun to see. It's fun to see, and she loves it.
Yeah. You guys are also forcing turnovers with your pressure that you're applying. I mean, you got to have a lot of depth to do that, and you guys do. I don't want to leave anybody out, but gosh, go look at that roster. It's so good. But the one player I wanted to ask you about is Emma Hamlin, because last year I kind of explained it before you came on, the trials you guys went through where you had to have the tryout, and she was one of the 3. What did that mean to you? And then you brought her back as a walk-on. She's got a couple buckets this year. What can you say about her?
We don't have enough time for me to truly say everything I'd want to say, but Ella's an unbelievable young lady. There was a group of them when we had open tryouts last year. We had to forfeit 2 games because we didn't have enough players that were allotted to keep playing in a safe environment. And so 3 students came out. Ella was one of the 3. And then Sarah, who's a stud volleyball player, was the 4th one that came out so we could field the team. And Ella is the most humble, selfless young lady. And so she helped us last year, but more importantly, in the off season, she came back and just said, Coach, listen, I want to do everything that everybody does. From the first day of workouts, I want to be there. I want to do every weight session. And this kid has grinded. She has done everything that everybody else has done, all the 6 a.m. workouts, all the conditioning. And she's doing this with the most humble spirit. The team loves her. I'll tell you what, you want to piss off the Horned Frogs, mess with Ella. And so she is just a huge part of our family, and a huge part of our program. And so and she's a really good basketball player. Don't let that fool you. Ella can hoop. And
she was a Granbury.
She's Granbury. Yep. And so Ella every day is out here in the lab. She's out there competing against Haley and grinding. And she's holding her own. And so she has been a blessing to the program. And so we're lucky to have her here.
Yeah. I mean, anybody who knows anything about Texas high school basketball knows Granbury and the great tradition they have. So just down the road, if you don't know, look it up. A lot of one of the best coaches in Texas high school history. Okay, so you took over the program last year. They had won only 1 conference game the previous season. What did you see that you thought TCU was a sleeping giant? Yeah,
which it is. We're starting to wake that thing up, though, buddy. It's this, private, high academic university with just beautiful facilities and resources. And the location of where TCU's at in Fort Worth, for someone to send their daughter here, this bubble, I'll take our package against anybody in the country. And it was just at rock bottom. It just didn't add up. It didn't make sense. I didn't understand it. And so I saw just an absolute sleeping giant. And there's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to get a major college athletic program dug out of the hole. And our staff has has done an amazing job. We've been burning it on both ends for the last 18 months. That NC State game was kind of a culmination of all the hard work. But TCU has everything in place to build one of the best women's programs in the country. And I felt that from day one, and I still believe that.
I mean, right now, when you look at the women's athletics as a whole, you got rifle won the national championship, soccer's in the NCAA tournament. Both volleyball teams are very, very good. Equestrian. It's kind of like a renaissance for women's sports at TCU. And believe me, when I was there in 93 to 97, it wasn't pretty. All right. So what's the common thread? What do you think the common thread is?
Man, well, first of all, our leader, Jeremiah Donati, is the common thread of all this. He's the one that's putting this whole thing together. He is an amazing leader. I'm very thankful that he found me and gave me the opportunity to come here. And he's followed through with everything he said he'd do and provide for us. He had a vision of what he thought this place could become in regards to women's basketball. And then at the time when we came, football was coming off a national championship run, and men's basketball was playing in March Madness and all the other programs you just mentioned. But this starts with Jeremiah, and it's a trickle-down effect because of his leadership and the way the athletic department that he's built. We're kind of following his lead.
Yeah, well, you got to have good talent, which you guys have. You got to have good coaching, which I'm not going to pat you on the back, but I think you're doing okay.
That's still questionable. Well, that's still debatable.
All right. Hey, number 19 TCU back in action tomorrow against Incarnate Word. Mark Campbell, thank you so much for joining us, and we are definitely having you back, probably after you beat South Carolina.
Ha! Hey, thanks for having me. This was awesome. I'll come on anytime. And we people in Fort Worth, you guys, it's come out and support this team. It's a special group. Like, when you kind of got a group that has the it factor, and obviously you need this group's got it.
Yeah.
And come out and support these ladies. But I think we're just at the start of a really special journey that's unfolding this season.
All right. Well, there's the leader, Mark Campbell. Coach, thanks again. We'll see you soon.
Thanks for having me. Talk to you later.
All right. Thanks. All right. Coming up next, me, as we play some catch up. Hey, if you guys haven't heard about the Sleeper app, it's time to listen. It's known for its fantasy football stuff, but they're really getting into the daily picks. And I'm really getting into the daily picks. It's a lot of fun. If you don't know what daily picks is, it's you pick a player in a game, and will he score more than 27.5 points? Will he have a double-double? Luka Doncic has been burning my butt on the double-double thing. So I'm off Luka for a while, but it's really fun, and it's easy to do. So you download the Sleeper app, all right? Everybody can do that. You use the code DLLS Frogs, and you get up to a $100 first deposit match. I don't know if they're still running the $1,500 match. If they are, just put in $1,500. Money well spent. You'll have a great time. It makes every game more enjoyable. Again, download the Sleeper app and use the code DLLS Frogs. And with all the money you're going to win, you need to head to roback.com or HOBACK.com. Don't forget that H. You can tell, you can see the little silhouette of the pup on their logo. It's on my hat. This is a Roback hat. It's a great hat, but they're known more for their shirts and hoodies and such. And let me tell you, it's finally cooling off, but it's been hot for pretty much 9 months. And it has the moisture wicking technology, so the shirt doesn't stick to you. They have the collars that don't wrinkle. You don't get the bacon collars. And then they have all these great designs, and fun designs. They have the traditional stuff you can wear to school or wear to work or wherever you're going to wear it that you probably can't look like a clown. But then they have the clown stuff that you can go ahead and take to the golf course. So go to roback.com, enter our code, and get 20% off your first purchase. I believe that code is DLLS. All right, guys, it's time to do an abbreviated catch-up because of our delay with Coach Campbell, and then we let him go long because he's just so exciting to talk to. It's just fun to listen to. So Anyway, let's go to the football program. Brent Mariscik will be joining us here in a minute to talk about Senior Day, which is coming up Saturday. The Frogs are back in action. They have Arizona at 2 p.m. The game's on ESPN Plus. Last game for the seniors. There's a ton of them. All right, a ton of them. The pregame is going to take a while, but they were off last week, gave them the opportunity to get healthy and continue to work out some of the kinks, even though they had just played one of their best games against Oklahoma State. That win made them bowl eligible. Sonny Dykes, who was on our show last week, delivered some good news Tuesday during his weekly presser. D lineman Marcus Steele, Cooper McDonald, and Akeem Ajij-Olaya have resumed practicing this week and will play against Arizona.
Well, it's a big deal. We were a little thinned out on the defensive front a little bit. Cooper was certainly playing as well as anybody really on our defense. And then Marcus was, I think, probably the most improved player, and Hakeem was filling the role as well. So as those guys disappeared, we got a little bit young and inexperienced up front, and so it's good to have everybody back. And it's certainly going to provide depth for us and give us a spark defensively.
Credit me for that nifty cell phone video of Sonny Dykes. Anyway, getting those guys back up front will help slow down the Arizona ground game, but the Frogs are more concerned about Wildcats receiver Teteroa McMillan. He goes by T-Mac, so that's how I'm going to refer to him the rest of the way. The best way to slow him down, Dykes said, is putting pressure on quarterback Noah Fafita. Gosh, these names. And Deal McDonald and Ajij-Olaya, another good one, can help with that. But McMillan's great. He has a great pass catching radius. Dykes said he can go up and get balls. He's got NFL written all over him. He's a big guy. He's going to be trouble. But again, if the pass rush is on and the quarterback is hurrying throws, that's a good way to limit the balls he's going to catch. The Oklahoma State win was the Frogs 6, making them bowl eligible. 3 bowls are in play: Guaranteed Rate Bowl in Phoenix, the Texas Bowl in Houston, and the Alamo Bowl in San Antonio. It would probably take 8 wins for the Frogs to go to the Alamo Bowl. They have 2 games left, Arizona and then at Cincinnati. So the Guaranteed Rate Bowl in Phoenix is going to be played at Chase Field, which is where the Rangers won the 2023 World Series. The players never lost faith. Give credit to the players. Things weren't looking very good, especially after losing to Houston. Went into the bye week, went to Utah, beat Utah, and really the Baylor game got away from them. But otherwise, they're probably playing their best ball of the season. Men's basketball was back on the hardwood Tuesday night. They rebounded from a Friday loss at Michigan with a 71-48 win over an overmatched Alcorn State. 10 different Frogs scored, led by Trey White's 14 points. He and Brendan Wenzel hit 3 3-pointers apiece as the Frogs sank 11 from distance. TCU scored 24 points off of 18 Braves turnovers, which Jamie Dixon likes. Only committed 11 of their own, which he likes even more. The Frogs were without Ernest Uday Jr. for the second straight game. They don't have a lot of size, so that's a big deal. They need to get him healthy and back on the floor. They were out-rebounded, 36-33. They missed 9 more free throws, which helped the Braves on the boards. TCU needs to get the free throw shooting figured out by conference play, but Dixon wasn't unhappy with how the Frogs played.
Yeah, I thought we really came out and played the right way early, and passing was really good. I thought we got out in transition, but we just didn't convert, didn't shoot. Had some wide open threes that we didn't hit, and that kind of continued throughout the game. But I thought our passing was really good. We ended up 17 assists with not really shooting it great. So make some more of those open threes. I mean, I don't know there were any bad shots on those threes. Maybe one late clock situation. So, but it is a little surprising. 32 of our 55 shots are threes. But we got to shoot it better. But that's not going to be there all the time. And that's what I tell guys. Sometimes we're going to miss some threes. We're going to miss some free throws. So the defense has got to be the constant. And I thought that was pretty good. Solid. And we got our numbers, our forced some turnovers like we wanted to. But at the end of the day, the rebounding, the loose balls, the end of clock possessions on the defensive end were just we didn't seem to come up with the possessions. That was probably the most disappointing thing. But I really thought we passed it well. I thought we really tried to get other guys shots. It didn't show an efficiency, but I thought the effort was there, and we made some improvements in that area. I don't think we had a lot of bad shots, which was something that we wanted to correct from our last game, guarded shots, and so that was good to see. Didn't shoot it great. I wish we would have been more efficient offensively, but I thought the effort was there, that we were trying to get other guys shots.
The Frogs don't play again until November 28th. That's Thanksgiving against Santa Clara and the Acusure Invitational in Palm Springs. Another tough road trip for these Frogs teams. TCU will play with Colorado State or Washington on November 29th. All right. Brent Mariscik has called in. He's waiting on the hotline. But first, Brent, don't get too excited. I got to read some ads. Brent Mariscik coming up next. I tell you what, Brent's from McKinney, so he knows Empire Today. He may not have had any of their floors yet, but he knows the jingle. Anyway, Empire Today, for those of you who aren't familiar, haven't seen the show before, is one of the leading in the area carpet and floor people. That's all they do. All right, they don't do anything else. You go to a big box store and look for hardwood floors or carpets, and you're going to run into a guy who just sold somebody a toilet. All right, this group knows what they're doing. And that's what makes Empire Today great. But also, you get shop at home convenience, and everybody likes shopping at home since that COVID. Our virtual floor designer is fantastic. You can hold up your phone, open up the camera, and get an idea of what the hardwoods or the carpets are going to look like in any room in your house. They service their own warranties. Not going to need that. So don't worry about any of that stuff, but they pride themselves. So here's what you need to do. Schedule a free in-home estimate today. All listeners can receive a $350 off discount when they use the promo code DLLS. Restrictions apply. See EmpireToday.com DLS for details. And then you're going to have that money saved so you can go to the Game Time app. Download the Game Time app. You get $20 off your first purchase with the code DLLS. What is Game Time? Well, it's an app to help you get tickets to sporting events, concerts, comedy shows, opera, if you're in New York, Broadway shows, all that stuff. And what makes Game Time great, two things, in my opinion. You can look at your seat and what your view is going to be, and then it's all in pricing, so you don't get hit with any of that bull crap pricing, upticks, fees, all that stuff afterward. So download the Game Time app. Use the code DLLS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms and conditions apply. Oh, there he is. Everybody, that is Brent Mariscik. How we doing, Brent? Brett, it's good to have you here. For those of you just tuning in, it's Senior Day on Saturday, and this guy is the definition of a senior. 6-year senior. The Frogs have 11 6-year seniors, but he's the only one who's been here all 6 years, which says something with the transfer portal and everything. So congratulations on that. Congratulations on your career, how you've become from a fullback to a snapper. And then, it's pretty interesting. You're hearing your story from Mark Cohen about, your brother who now snaps for the Jacksonville Jaguars, but he went to Baylor, and you wanted to stir up some stuff with your brother, so you chose TCU.
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly it. That's a huge part of it, because when we grew up, it's a big. Me and him always had a big competition playing driveway basketball and stuff like that. And so, if I can move it one step farther to college, you know what? That's what I wanted to do. So that's what I did.
Hey, so 6 years in one place is a lot. You didn't go far from home, but you didn't leave TCU. What is Fort Worth and TCU meant to you?
You know what? Growing up in McKinney, before coming to TCU on a visit, I've never been to Fort Worth. Never crossed my mind. And then came here, and it was on my visit, it was a gloomy day, and there's something about a gloomy day, and I feel it's a joke with me and my mom. For my birthday forever, it's always been raining or a gloomy day, and so came up here on a visit on a spring day practice by myself, and so the old staff, and fell in love with the community and just the area. And then that just kept on growing as the years, every year just kept on growing, and I kept on falling more in love with everything about Fort Worth. And yeah, I mean, there's not a much better place.
Yeah, I graduated from TCU in '97, so the campus is entirely different now. With all the construction that's happened, and even the football stadium is different. But the campus is what sold me. It's basically 3 blocks. You can get from one end to the other in 10 minutes. I could wake up at 7:55 in my dorm and still make my 8 o'clock class. What are you getting your degree in, or what have you had your degree in? And then just the campus itself. It seems like it's a huge selling point for recruits.
Yeah, so I mean, I got my undergrad in finance and real estate, and then I'm finishing up my master's in supply chain. So I mean, the Neely School of Business is top notch. It's one of the best in the state. And then I mean, the campus is beautiful. I mean, every day I feel like they're changing out flowers. That's the one thing I've noticed of it is how well the landscaping is. I mean, you go there and you're just in amaze of how perfect everything is at all times. And like I said, one of my brothers went to Baylor, and you go to Baylor and it's nothing like, it almost feels like a jail. Everything's exactly the same. Nothing's vibrant. And then my oldest brother went to Rice, and it's similar to here, but I mean, it's hands down. I mean, every building's top notch. The staff's unbelievable. Custodial staff, teachers, professors, administration. I mean, everything. Everybody always walks around with a smile. I mean, when there's flowers blooming in November, there's something up. There's something in the air. So
yeah, a former booster, I can't remember her name. When she passed away, she left it in her will, a trust for the tulips and for the flowers. So it's fully funded by this former TCU student, lady, booster, whatever. And as she's gone now, but her flowers live on. So that's a pretty cool story. Tanner, who's the producer, he went to the prison in Waco. So I visited TCU and I visited Baylor, and it advantaged TCU on the campus. There's no question. No question.
No comment.
Speaking of Waco, you were the snapper on the memorable bazooka play in 2022 to beat Baylor. What do you remember about that play?
Well, I mean, it's pretty funny. Whenever the play happened, I couldn't tell you anything. I mean, it's just, I just heard the crowd screaming. We went through our normal operation, and then the whole stadium went silent. But I mean, that play, I mean, it's something special. I mean, it's something that we work on every single day. And so, I mean, for us, it was just second nature to, hey, do our job. But I mean, looking back on it, I mean, just how perfectly everything was executed. I mean, that's just kudos to the staff and to the players that were on there. I mean, for us to execute that with 15 seconds left on the clock and get the whole entire offense off and then just the field goal unit on and do everything we needed to do. I mean, that's what goes through my head is how perfectly operated it was.
So was Coach Tomerdahl over there telling you guys, all right, we're going to run it up the middle, haul butt onto the field? Did you have at least a little warning?
Yeah, we had a warning. So the one thing is no one is allowed to say bazooka. Nobody on the sideline except for Tomerdahl and Dykes. And so funny thing about that is he always holds a towel in his hand, and he'll wind that thing up like a banshee. So when you know that's happening, it's going. But I mean, everybody had it on the back of their minds, except for Griff didn't realize how fast everything was going. Griff was kind of doing his kicking like kickers do, and just all the way on the other side
in
of
their
the
own
field.
world, right? Yeah,
all the whole other unit was ready to go, just waiting for the shoots to go down for us to go. So I mean, we were ready, but I mean, you don't know how fast everything has to be until you're in that moment.
Yeah. So you're a captain this year. You don't see a lot of guys at your position as captains. So why do you think you were chosen, and what does it mean to be one?
I mean, I think I was chosen. I mean, obviously I've been here for a while. I know how the college football programs ran. I knew how to be successful. I mean, we went to national championships. So, I mean, I have a lot on my side. And, yeah, I mean, I think it's more the leadership aspect. I mean, we have a whole bunch of players that are captains that are dogs. And then you have me as a long snapper, which if I'm lucky, if the team's usually unlucky if I'm playing a lot. That's the bad part. If I'm playing a lot, hopefully it's only field goals. But no, I mean, I feel like, I mean, it definitely has to be to my leadership style. And I mean, I'm a very vocal guy and getting people going and bring the energy. And so, I mean, I feel like I'm more of the person that's on the sideline, making sure everybody's keeping on going and energy's always high, rather than being the person like Savion scoring touchdowns every other play and Josh Hoover throwing touchdowns to Savion and all that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm more of definitely the sideline leader of making sure everybody's where they're supposed to be and just keeping everybody's morales up whenever things go back down, and then keeping everybody pretty much level-headed and keeping the energy high.
But when you were in high school, you didn't want to snap, and
No.
you hated it. I saw you say. So how did this all take place? How did this transformation happen?
Yeah, so in high school, I snapped 2 times because our coaches knew my brother snapped. So they put me in the game. They're like, "Hey, snap the ball." Two punts got blocked. So they're like, "Yep, you're not doing that no more. You're gonna be on the shield." And I always during high school, I always wanted to be the punter. So I was the backup punter, but I was also on the shield. And so I just never long snapping is not a fun position. I mean, now it is, but in high school, I was playing linebacker, tight end. I didn't want to snap the ball. And then we come to TCU. I'm playing fullback, and we're getting ready to play Baylor. And Coach A at the time was my tight end coach. He's like, "You didn't tell us your brother was a snapper at Baylor." I was like, "Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's a snapper at Baylor. I mean, I don't know what else you want me to tell you." And then he goes, "Oh," threw me a ball. And he's like, "Snap this." And then snapped it. He's like, "All right." And we did it for like 15 minutes. And he's like, "All right, well, you're probably going to be the snapper. Like if something happens, you're going to be there in case Antonio goes down." So I was doing that path for 2 years. Enjoyed it. Whenever it was almost my time to go, I was like, "Oh wait, I don't know if I'm ready to snap. I'm all taped up, wrist taped, like not ready. I'm a fullback." But then whenever this new staff came in, Antonio had left, and so I was like, "You know what? This is a perfect time for me to learn how to actually snap and actually want to do this as a passion." And so the 2022 year is my first year actually snapping and doing that. I was still playing fullback for majority of that year. I think that year really made me fall in love with snapping, and I mean, hopefully I can go farther in it. But I mean, I love doing it, and it's an awesome experience.
Yeah, are we looking at future brothers in the NFL here?
Fingers crossed. If everything goes how I'm praying it is, everything should happen.
Yeah, that'd be a kick-ass story. All right, so Saturday is senior day. Mom and dad are going to be on the field. Have you thought about what you're going to be feeling?
You know, there's a lot of excitement because the odds that it's my senior day and my brother's bye week. So I have both my brothers coming in town. So
that's awesome.
He hasn't been able to see me a lot. But yeah, so I mean that's honestly what I'm probably more excited than senior day. I mean, the emotions are going to be high. They always will be. I mean, it's be my last time playing in the Carter. So I mean that's gonna be interesting. That's gonna be exciting. But yeah, I mean, for my family, for my whole entire family, come watch me. I mean, that's what I'm most excited for. And you know, I mean, we're playing against a good Arizona team, so you can't let the emotions get too high before the game because we have some business to handle.
That's right. All right, well, keep the good vibes going. Beat Arizona. Go ahead and beat Cincinnati. Go ahead and win your bowl game. Go out on the highest note you possibly can. Thanks for joining us. It was good meeting you yesterday, even though it was while we were whispering with Mark Cohen. But thanks for coming on the show. I really appreciate you.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you for having me.
All right. Good luck. All right, guys. That was Brent Mariscik. Long snapper, good guy, local guy. So, yeah, that's great. All right. Coming up, Jamie Plunkett. He closes out another one. All right. We have moved on in the portion of the show where we talk about DLLS. Become a diehard. It is $79.99 a month. You get a shirt for free, one of these sweet shirts like this. Huh? Look at that. Our TCU coverage is going to be expanding in the very near future. A name you know, a face you've seen before on the show. So that's exciting. So you'll have some reasons to get the diehard membership if you're a TCU fan, and if you're a TCU fan, you're probably a Rangers fan. That's probably where you know me from primarily. If you're new to TCU, if you've been around the area a while, you know me from the mid 2000s as the TCU beat writer for the Fort Worth newspaper, whose name I don't mention anymore. But anyway, do it. Be our best friends. Be a diehard. Get access to everything that we do. And then since you're going to be getting a shirt, head over to store.allcitynetwork.com. All kinds of stuff. You saw the sweet TCU shirt I'm wearing. Rangers, Cowboys, Stars, Mavericks, DLLS, just the general shirt. And then we got some hoodies. Hats are coming. You know how much I love the hat. So hats are coming, and I will be wearing as many as I can, buying as many as I can. And it's good stuff. Prices for these shirts is $35. They're high quality shirts, soft, comfortable. You want to wear them all the time. And as Brian Esridge noted last week, it shows off my guns. So that's the most important aspect of the shirt. Anyway, store.allcitynetwork.com. And there's the bell. It's the final bell, which means we got to bring in Jamie Plunkett. He has shaved because what? You got 1,000 subscribers to your podcast. Was that your prize to everybody?
Yes. Melissa put out a poll on Twitter with a couple different options. And of course, the reasonable ones of like, oh, eat this spicy food, or nobody wanted that. Everybody wanted a mustache. And so here I am. I haven't seen my chin in 40 years, and there's a reason why. But yeah, we're going mustache for a little while now.
Have you started growing the beard again?
Yes, you can't really tell on this screen, but the beard is trying to make its way back. I have not shaved since I trimmed the beard off, and I won't be shaving.
When did you trim the beard?
Yesterday morning.
Oh,
so
okay.
Tuesday
So
morning.
we're in for we're going to get to chronicle the growth each week.
We're here for a minute. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think we do have a show next week. Are you going to be in town?
I'll be
You're not
here.
gonna be out seeing family or anything. All right, good. Yeah,
my
because it's
family's
the day
all
before
here,
Thanksgiving. So I know how people like to get out and celebrate. But
we'll be
you've been busy as always. I guess we'll work backwards here. I was following. I don't have ESPN Plus, so I was not watching the game last night. But I was following your Twitter account at Frog Preacher, and you seemed less than enthused with the performance by the men's team.
It wasn't great. It's interesting to say that after a 24 point
23,
win,
yeah,
that it wasn't great, but truly lackluster, sleepy kind of performance from the Frogs. It was a little interesting to see that after losing to Michigan on the road. I thought they would come out and play pretty well, take care of a team that was the second worst shooting team in Division I entering Tuesday night in Alcorn State. But really interesting first half. They shot the ball well. They think they shot 56% from the floor in the first half, but they turned it over 9 times. They gave up 12 offensive rebounds for the game, ended up losing the rebounding battle to an Alcorn State team that doesn't have anybody over 6'8". So some things to clean up there. Really didn't do themselves any favors in this win. But the good news, I think, is that they have a week off until they play on Thanksgiving Day, and there's some time to get Ernest Uday back in the lineup. He's missed the last 2 games with a lower back injury. He should be back for their trip out to Palm Springs, California next week. And I think that'll shore up some of those issues. But the reality is that this team isn't going to do much this year if they play down to their opponents like they did on Tuesday. So some things to kind of be concerned about, but you got a couple lightweights coming up on the schedule that you should be able to get right against.
Who is the best athlete ever from Alcorn State?
Oh gosh, why are you doing this? It wasn't anybody on the court Tuesday night. I can tell you that.
Not a basketball player.
Who is it?
Steve McNair.
Oh, duh. Of
Yeah,
course.
duh.
Yes. Absolutely.
It is in Alcorn, Mississippi, which is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that there was a town called Alcorn, Mississippi. So,
Yeah.
all right. Okay, so we're going to keep working backwards. Women's basketball Sunday. We just had Mark Campbell on. I love talking to him. He is so fun to talk to about basketball and so much energy. What did you see in that 76-73 W?
I saw a team that, despite all of the stars and the scoring ability, really kind of won with their defense down the stretch. They didn't score a ton of points in the last 2 minutes, saw their lead kind of dwindle, and still managed to hold on. Did a really good job of executing on the final defensive possession, using some of those fouls to give, forcing a tough look from NC State. And so it was nice to see that even when the offense wasn't clicking all the way, they can still rely on the defensive side of the court to get a win against a really good program. But beyond that, when Sedona Prince is playing like she did on Sunday afternoon, this team's going to be almost impossible to beat. She had the mid-range jump shot working. She dropped 31 points. She pulled down 16 rebounds. She was affecting shots left and right in the paint. NC State just did not have an answer for her. She hit a Dirk one-legged fadeaway over a defender at one point. Like it was a really nice performance from Sedona. She earned AP National Player of the Week because of it. And when you have a mismatch like that down low, not to mention Haley Van Lith and all the shooting they've got, it's going to put you in a really good position more often than not. And so her on the defensive end, and then obviously the double doubles from her and Haley carried the team. But beyond just that game, I think we really got a good gauge for the ceiling of this team right now. And I think it's higher than maybe even I thought it was, just because of the way they went about winning that game when they didn't have their best day. Now they get some more tests coming up here with Notre Dame, South Carolina. Then you get into conference play where there are a bunch of ranked teams as well. Can you stay healthy? Can you continue to improve executing? And how far can you go in the tournament when that time comes?
Yeah, that'll be an interesting game in Grand Cayman. Coach Campbell invited everybody to go if they can make it. So
on the team plane, I'm sure. And
let me just get a ticket real quick. I'm sure it's a cheap one on late notice. But he compared Sedona Prince to Nikola Jokic. Yeah. So
okay.
He was like,
I can see that. The thing about Jokic that makes him that makes him unique is the ball handling and passing. And I think that she's close when she's got the ball in the paint. I'm not as sure. Obviously, I mean, she's in college still, and he's a three-time MVP or whatever. But I can see it. I can see it a little bit. She definitely showed off the mid-range jumpers on Sunday, stretched the floor. And if you look at the last play on offense where TCU got their last bucket that Taylor Bigby got, part of the reason she had such an open look at the rim was because Sedona had pulled her defender out of the paint. She had made 5 or 6 of those mid-range jumpers, and so the center from NC State had to respect her and move out of the lane, and that cleared things up for Taylor to get to the rim and get that layup. So I can see she's got a lot of gravity to her, kind of like Jokic does. And I can see that comparison for sure.
My favorite thing in the NBA is when Jokic brings the ball up the floor. I think it's fantastic. It is my favorite thing. I laugh every time, and he's great with it. That's the thing. He's really, really good. Yeah,
he's kind of loping. He's not. He's what Dirk used to say about himself is, I never slowed down because I was always slow twitch. It feels like Nikola Jokic is kind of in that same cut as well. He's never moving fast, but he's always moving somewhere.
Yeah. You didn't go to the presser yesterday. Brent Mariscik talked, and we just had him on. It's a pretty cool story. I think I didn't really say this. I didn't say this to him, but this is kind of like, this is what college football, this is what you're supposed to get from college athletics. Stories like this guy who has fought and stayed in one place, switched positions, and become like a prospect.
Yeah. 6 years in one place is almost unheard of now. And for him to stick it out and change positions and kind of just grind until he had his opportunity, it's really cool to see, because you don't know what lies on the other side of the transfer portal. I mean, there are a number of kids every year who think that they're just going to go into the portal and find a better situation and have more playing time, and that's not the case for everybody. So for him to stick it out and grind it out and earn 2 degrees, I think, from TCU is a really cool story. Not to mention, he was a part of a really fun national championship year. He was the long snapper on the bazooka on the Brazos, that field goal against Baylor. No, yeah, it's a really cool story. He's a good dude, one of the leaders, one of the captains on the team, and it'll be fun to see him play in the Carter one last time on Saturday during Senior Day.
Yeah. All right. So the Frogs, 2 games left on the football field. I'm sure they can beat Cincinnati, win at Cincinnati, but if you want to improve your bowl standing, you really got to win this game Saturday.
You do. I mean, Arizona's had a rough season. They're 4-6. They beat the brakes off Houston last week. TCU lost to Houston. They probably should have won that game too. But this is a team that has become really one-dimensional offensively. It's Noah Fafita and Ted McMillan. That's it.
Yeah.
Really, they can't run the football. They don't have many other wide receiver options. The defense, aside from the Houston game, has kind of been getting carved up, especially against the run. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of Savion Williams Wildcat stuff the Frogs can pull out to maybe get the running game going a little bit on Saturday. But this is a game you have to win. You have to carry some momentum. You won 3 out of your 4 after the first bye week. You got 2 games after this bye week. You got to go get them both. Get to 8-4, which, by the way, is what I said this team would be at in preseason. And so you get to 8-4, and all of a sudden you're feeling a lot better about things. You showed a lot more in the back 6 games than you did in the front 6. And I think the fan base will have been, mollified a little bit from the going 5-1 after the first bye, but you still got to take care of business against both these teams, even though Arizona doesn't look great and Cincinnati looks like they're coming back to earth a bit. Just go take care of business, get your 2 wins to close out the season, and see where you go for a bowl game.
Where do you want to go for the bowl game?
That's a good question. I don't think Alamo Bowl is realistic at this point, although I always love going to San Antonio. But here's the thing, Jeff. If they go to the Guaranteed Rate Bowl in Phoenix, where the media hotel is, because it's the same one as the Fiesta Bowl.
Oh yeah, the JW Desert Inn, or not the Desert Inn, Camelback, JW Camelback,
Camelback Desert Inn. Yeah, sign me up.
Not the Desert Inn again. Desert Inn is up north.
No. Saddleback
JW Marriott
Resort,
Camelback. I know it's the same one.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. Sign me up for that.
That's great.
Sign me up for that media lounge again.
Yeah, the Fiesta Bowl people run that bowl, and they know they're like old school bowl people. Mm-hmm. They're probably bribing people and all that stuff. They give us good. You wore the pullover last week from the Fiesta Bowl. I still have it mine. I probably still have some of the beers around my belly that we drank that week, and. Yeah, that's got to be the choice. Nobody wants to go to Houston. I mean,
Houston sucks. Everything about Houston
Tanner,
sucks.
You're not from Houston, are you? Okay, good.
Tanner's clears, but
no
zoning laws.
This is pretty good. I don't know if you heard this or not, but Mariscik was talking about his brother in Waco, and he was saying he called it comparing the campuses. He said Waco's like a prison. And he didn't know that that Tanner here went to Baylor, so I don't think that
I might disagree with him, but it's okay.
Well, I dated a girl at Baylor for a little while, and I can confirm what Mariscik was talking about. It's very jail-like down there.
Come on,
a lot of shivs and bad meals, prison tats. All right, yeah, That's what happens down there with those Baptists. You got to watch out for them.
Early curfews too.
So
brutal.
What else do we got? We got soccer. They play Friday. Penn State in Tallahassee. I think the last time they went to a second round, it was at Notre Dame, and it snowed and was very, very cold, and they beat Michigan State and then got beat by Notre Dame. But I just trying to trying to get them all in here. Do the Frogs have a chance?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you look at the score from their first round game and you're like, oh, they only beat SFA 1-0. That's not very impressive. But the reality is their SFA's goalkeeper played out of her mind. Little 5'9" true freshman who made, I think, 10 saves, a career high for her.
Oh, geez.
TCU easily could have won that game 4-0, 5-0 with the looks that they had. Penn State won their first round game 8-1. I could see this being like a 3-2, 4-3 kind of soccer game, and just whoever has the last opportunity to score maybe comes away with it. But yeah, TCU can compete. They've got the horses. They've got the depth. They can score from a variety of different areas. And I think they're looking forward a little bit to the opportunity beyond Penn State to get to get another shot at Florida State, because they played an exhibition with Florida State before the season started, and kind of got roundhouse kicked by Florida State there a little bit. So maybe want a little get back at the Seminoles, but you got to take care of Penn State first. But yeah, I think they've got every opportunity, every capability of beating Penn State and moving on.
All right. So what do we got coming up at 247 Sports? What are you working on? Basketball? They don't need a basketball. Basketball tomorrow for the girls.
It's the field trip day.
That's
so
right.
we were talking to Haley and Sedona after the win on Sunday, and I think one of the questions was about, hey, this is obviously a really big win. How long do you let yourself kind of ride this high before you get back into being locked in? You got more games, all this stuff, and they're like, oh, we kind of expected to compete and win, so we're not really riding too high. We'll celebrate for a little bit, and then at the end of the presser, cameras are kind of turned off. And Sedona realized that their next game was at noon. It's at noon on Thursday against Incarnate Word. She goes, wait, is that the field trip game? And yes, because all these elementary schools bring all these girls to the field trip game, and it's like the highest pitch volume of a fan arena that you will ever experience. And so she's just kind of put both hands in her face. And I think she had fully gotten over the win at NC State right at that moment.
Snap back to reality.
Snap back, locked back in again. So yeah, the field trip game is coming up on Thursday. They play Idaho State on Sunday before they go to the Cayman Islands. And the men have a long break, which is really interesting.
Yeah, it is.
So, we're wrapping up football season over 24/7. We're getting ready for early signing day. December 4th is when early signing day happens for football. So look for TCU to sign a lot of those kids. They got, I think, 13 or 14 of those kids are going to early enroll. Right now, they're the 20th rated class in the country, according to our metrics. They just added a flip from Arizona, Terry Shelton, who is the number 71 overall recruit, number 12 wide receiver for the 2025 class. And his comp at the college level, ironically enough, is Tat McMillan. So might get a little preview of what TCU is bringing into their 2025 class if you watch the best Arizona receiver in this game coming up on Saturday afternoon as well.
You don't see a lot of Terrys anymore, so that's good.
It's a fun name.
Comeback. Terry needs a comeback.
Every time I hear Terry now, I think of that video. Back it up, Terry, the guy in the wheelchair who's lighting the fireworks. Back it up, Terry. Put it in reverse.
Poor Terry. All right. Hey, everybody, go subscribe to Jamie's podcast and vote for him to grow his beard back. And we'll see him next week with probably looks like he's been on a bender for a few days. So
yeah, a little bit of stubble.
All right, Jamie. Thanks again as always. We'll see you next week.
I appreciate you, Jeff.
All right, man. All right, guys. He's the closer, so he just closed it out. This was episode 11. I really think it was a pretty unique one. We've had some good guests with Sonny Dykes and Josh Hoover, but gosh, nobody can talk like Mark Campbell. And then old Brent Mariscik there. Pretty good story. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll be back next week. It is the day before Thanksgiving, so no excuses. You guys ought to be able to tune in and watch this one. And subscribe to it, too. It's pretty good. So until then, I'm Jeff Wilson. We'll see you next week.
We all silly like the mayor.